RX Television on RxMuscle.com. This is Ask Dave, better known as hashtag Ask Dave, brought to you by Species Nutrition and Liquid Sunrays. I'm your host, Dave Faruqi. This is your 30-minute question and answer show with Dave Palumbo. All your questions on diet, training, supplementation, IFBB pros, competitions, of course. The Arnold Classic wrapping up this past weekend, and that's what we bring in Dave Palumbo from our Cape Coral studios. Dave, both you and I still recuperating a little bit from this past weekend. An exciting weekend that it was, and for me, probably one of the coolest things is bumping into our fans that watch our shows on a regular basis, still quote the inside jokes and telling us the appreciation that they have for everything that it is what we do.
Yeah, you know, I love going out and getting out and seeing all the real people rather than just seeing the virtual people on text messages and WhatsApps and all that. And a lot of times I met a lot of my clients that I had never seen before at the show, so that was always great. You know, usually I'm sequestered in a hotel room editing video and everything like that, but because of the fact that people don't realize there's so many people in Columbus, Ohio, that the phones, bandwidth is non-existent, so you can't really send videos or even text take a long time. Pulling up the internet does. So we pay for the internet via the convention center, the expo hall, and we have a high-speed line, and we can use it pretty much anywhere in that Hyatt Regency area. So what I wind up doing is during the day I spend the whole day in the food court. I eat my food, I have access to coffee and drinks and stuff like that, and I just sit there and edit, and people see me and they come up to me and they talk to me, we take pictures, we do this, we do that, and it's kind of fun because I'm interacting with a lot. It's like my expo. I don't have a booth at the expo, but my booth is set up in the food court there, and so I have all my little, I guess you could say, appointments I have right there. That's my office, so to speak, and I get to see a lot of people. And then obviously at night we go up to the press area on the side of the stage, which, by the way, the Arnold people are brilliant. They set up a little press area. I've been saying that every show should have this, where they have a backdrop with lights on it. You could do your interviews there, even though you and I had to use the black curtain because all the other media websites were kind of like hungry wolves over there, and I didn't want to fight them. But they have seats with plugs, and you can sit there, and I was working until 3 in the morning. And, you know, once again, at that point, I get to interact with all the press people that I know. So for me, it was almost, because I had to be out of the hotel room to use the internet, I actually interacted with a lot more people than I normally do. And I actually spent a lot less time in the expo. On Friday, you and I did a lot of interviews, but I didn't even go to the expo on Saturday because it's such a zoo there.
Let's get to the questions again real quick. So the episode we did last week, aptly titled about Dave's shoe size. A lot of you had questions about it since his video about the Nike LeBrons. And what we noticed is that for whatever reason, don't know if it's a YouTube thing or what, but the first day we said it live, that thing was at about 8,000 views. And we're thinking, oh, it's going to be one of those episodes that hits the 30, 35,000 mark. The last one before that hit about 41,000 views. But it stuck at maybe 14,000. We can't explain why. It's about an hour-long episode. Not sure if that's a deterrent or a good thing or what have you, but nonetheless, if you haven't seen that episode yet, check it out. Dave actually shows off proof of his size 15 shoe size. That one available at RxMuscle.com.
I got to add something to that, first of all, but and the truth be told, I think people were at the Arnold, and that's why they didn't see it, but it is one of the best episodes we did. I'll have Tyler clip some of the Q&As we did on there because they were really good. They probably can go up as individual episodes. But my good friend Martinez Hagens, who I've been prepping for years for competitions, used to work the Species Nutrition booth when we used to have one at the Arnold. He actually he's a sneaker aficionado, and he saw that episode and he said, I'm getting you, he has an in with Nike. And because he buys so many sneakers from them, he's getting me a size 15 LeBron. I don't know where he's getting it from. I think it's a different cut than the one I was looking for, but he's getting me one as a gift, which is super nice. I want to thank you, Martinez, of course. And I'll display that, the true size 15 in the brand new version when we do get it.
Let's go to the question again. A reminder, right now on RxMuscle.com and the YouTube channel, we have yesterday's episode of Iron Debate, where Dave Criscito and Fuad Abiad debate whether or not Brandon Curry is a viable Mr. Olympia contender in 6 months. So check that episode out. The first 2 questions from the Dave Palumbo Experience app. The first question, Dave, your cutting cycle in the app just says 25 mcg of T3 starting at 12 to 16 weeks. What's a normal pre-contest T3 protocol How do you ramp and taper? Your mass gain cycle worked great for me. Now I need to cut.
What he's referring to, number one, is the Dave Palumbo Experience app. It's an app that I have out there. You guys may or may not know about it. It's $29 a month. You have access to all my videos, all my writings I've ever done, all my protocols are in there, and I'm always adding new stuff. We put up new workouts every single week, and I answer every app questions. And when I answer them, I put them in a general forum so that everyone can see the Q&As. And then once a week, I do video Q&As where exclusively for the app. So the app people ask I take the best questions, I answer them on video, and that goes up. So this is exclusive material that the regular population doesn't get access to. So if you can't afford coaching necessarily, this is a great alternative or a great addition to coaching because it's a constant learning experience. So you can go to your app store, whether it be Android or iPhone, and you can subscribe to it. Now, the protocol he's talking about is my pre-contest protocol, and that includes Cytomel or T3, which is one of the cutting drugs I like to use. And I usually start people out at 25 micrograms per day. And what I usually do is increase it by 12.5 micrograms every 1 to 3 weeks, depending on how they need to go, how their progress is going, and how I think I need to tweak and increase it. Obviously, I never go more than 100 micrograms per day. And obviously, with Cytomel, because it's really a 24-hour drug, they say it is, but it's kind of a 12-hour-ish, 18-hour peak type drug. So what I usually do is after we increase the dosage over 25 micrograms, I go with 2 doses a day. So the morning dose when you get up, and then a dose before bed, approximately 12 hours apart. And I split the dose that way. Like clenbuterol is different because clenbuterol, we only do 20 micrograms or 25 micrograms per dose. And so if you're doing 6 doses a day, if you're doing 120 micrograms per day, you're going to split it into 6 dosages. Cytomel is only 2 dosage split because it does have a much longer half-life. Now, when you taper off Cytomel, no matter how high let's say you get up to 100 micrograms per day, I immediately go down to 25 micrograms per day for a week. Then I go down to 12.5 micrograms per day for a week and then off. Okay, you don't need a longer taper than that. It's unnecessary. The way the pituitary gland works, it's a general, very, very easy negative feedback loop. You take away the T3, your body's going to sense a low. It's going to then tell your pituitary to release, thyroid stimulating hormone, which will then kick your thyroid gland back on. So it usually takes about 2 weeks, that process to really, solidify. It takes probably about another 2 weeks before your gland is up to producing, normal amounts, and by a month after you stop it, you should be normal again. So that's the protocol.
Second question, again from the Dave Palumbo Experience app. Does aspartame negatively affect the microbiome?
There's no direct evidence to prove that aspartame, also known as NutraSweet, also found, you find it in those little blue packets, equal packets. And most diet sodas still use aspartame because it probably is the truest in cold fluids. Cold liquids is probably the truest to sugar. I think it's even better than sucralose. But there's so many, people that are so aspartame nuts in today's society that, all the protein powder is pretty much sucralose based. I don't have any problems with any of these artificial sweeteners whatsoever, as long as you're not using them in excess. But some people do have problems with it. I don't know why. Just like some people have problems with eating peanut butter and other people don't. Everyone's body can react differently. But by and large, in the general population, most people don't have problems with aspartame. If you do, and you notice that it affects you negatively, then don't use it. Will it kill the good probiotic bacteria in your colon? No. You think a couple packs of equal are going to destroy everything in there? Absolutely not. Will mega amounts of aspartame kill off some of the microbiome? It's possible, especially in some people that might not react well to it. So it all depends on if you're using things in moderation. If you're having a couple diet sodas a day, I really wouldn't worry about it. If, however, you notice you are, having, signs of destruction of your, good probiotic bacteria in your colon, then maybe eliminate it and see if it helps. I know people that when they're dieting, they drink, 4 liters of diet soda a day because they don't want to cheat on their diet, and they're not getting extra calories from that. But it is an awfully large excessive amount of artificial sweetener in there. But it also is an excessively large amount of acid. Period, because of soda is very acidic. So who knows what's causing what? That's the problem. What my solution is to most problems eliminate one food source or one consumable at a time and see what the thing is. If you just eliminate everything, then you don't know what the problem was to begin with. Trial and error.
Let's go to our Instagram questions. Again, if you're not following us, we have a ton of Arnold content on our Instagram page, official_RxMuscle. Let's go to Sveleni Abazanov. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. Dave, any idea how Hafthor Bjornsson travels on an airplane?
He's definitely in first class. I know for a fact that Aaron Singerman told me that, we would ask him about Brian Shaw, who's even bigger than Hafthor in terms of body weight. I think Brian's up to like 470 or 480.
470, yeah.
Yeah, so he definitely needs, the first class seat. I have to imagine that even the first class seat is probably not really big enough for him, but at least they're spaced out. If you've ever sat in first class, the seats are not right on top of each other like the coach seats would be. So even if he's still a little tight in the seat, at least his arms and his shoulders are sitting on armrests and they're not sitting on the guy next to him. Who was telling us, Sid, that they had to sit next to Brian Shaw once on an airplane? Oh, Chris Aceto.
Yeah. Took a picture of right.
Yeah, and Chris was sitting all the way to the side to give more room. But yeah, it's not fun. When I was 300 pounds, when I would travel with my girlfriend at the time, I was sitting half in her seat and all of my seats. So that's how I used to deal with it, because I didn't go first class back then. I didn't have any money, so that's just how we traveled. Luckily, she was a small girl, but. Yeah, it's not fun. The worst thing is getting on an airplane when you're that big, because you're always sweating and you don't fit in the seats, and there's always you get stuck next to someone who stinks, or they're too big. Meanwhile, when I was 300-some pounds, I was complaining about other people. They were probably complaining about me. Oh shit, I got to sit next to this sweaty mess of a guy, So it's all good though. But yeah, definitely Hafthor and Brian are definitely in first class.
Let's go to Petno DePat. I recently rewatched an Iron Debate from 2014 when you addressed how to grow the sport. And you said the sport will only grow as much as the sport allows itself to grow. Nearly 5 years after, what more can be done? I think primarily every pro show needs to be streamed on an NPC/IMBB site. All these fans flock to the expos. So I'm sure sites airing shows will gain enough traffic to be profitable. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I've been saying that for years. That's it. I said that they should have a general, website where you go where all these shows are just streamed. Just how hard is it to set up a camera and just, hit, click, turn it on and let it just stream to, a website via, YouTube. It's not really that hard. Now the technology is so available. I think that, I think promoters are really very scared to do that because they think no one will come see the shows, which is not true, because everyone's going to bring their relatives with them and their friends. They want to see them on stage live. Those are the only people going to shows now anyway. No one goes to shows, and I'll tell you why. Because they just can go online and they can look at pictures and videos 3 seconds after, or people stream it from their phone anyway. So the people who go see shows nowadays are the true fans of the sport for the Olympia and the Arnold shows like that. And then the other shows, it's just friends and family, that are going to the shows. And there's plenty, because if there's 1,000 people in a show, if you bring 2 people every person, you filled up the whole audience. So the business model is different. So promoters shouldn't be afraid to live stream shows. You're not going to lose ticket sales, believe me. If anything, you might get people who really will rally around the show a little more because they think that you're doing it, you're doing more for the athletes. So I suspect that within the next 5 years, probably almost every show will be live streamed. I think as technology becomes easier and easier to kind of just hook up, put your phone on a tripod and let it stream, it's a no-brainer. I don't know why people wouldn't do it. It just offers another service to the customer. And who's the customer? The fans at home watching. And why are they customers? Because they buy supplements. So if you get a company that sponsors your show, because it's hard to find sponsors for shows now because companies don't want to spend the money. But if you say, hey, look, I'm going to live stream the show all day long, prejudging a night show, and your banners are going to be up on there and people are going to see that, now there's value in sponsoring a show. So I think that the promoters have to get smart in that how they can extract more money from the nutrition companies as opposed to just giving them a booth. I don't even want a booth. I have promoters all the time offering me free booths for Species Nutrition, and I appreciate it. And they're very loyal friends of mine, or they're people who carry my product. But I don't want a booth. It costs money to send people there, and I don't want the aggravation. But if you were live streaming a show and you had my banner, my Species Nutrition banner, or you were running commercials, in between the breaks, that would be worth something for me to think about. So I think that the sport will evolve, once again, as technology becomes easier and easier for the live streaming aspect of it.
Let's go to Muzaffar KST. Now, before I ask this question, Dave, we just did a behind-the-scenes sit-down, you and Chris Aceto, at the Arnold Classic, talking about, last week or last 3-week prep going into a show?
Really the last week we were talking about, but it was just getting guys ready that last, 5 to 7 days.
Right, so that is going to be, when do you want to air that? You want to air that tomorrow or next week?
We could maybe do it tomorrow.
Okay.
In fact, although we still have some stuff we have a lot of stuff from the Arnold actually that has to go up. I haven't even edited the Expo interviews. Not that we didn't do that many this year, but we got a couple of them. I got a Charles Glass interview. I got some cool interviews at the Redcon booth with Antoine, and we did Luke. And,
Blessing with Debo.
Yeah, and the Boogeyman. So, and I think actually, did you put up the Andre Ferguson one yet? I don't think we put that one up either.
No.
He's great. There's no one better to interview when he wins a show than Andre Ferguson. It's like interviewing Muhammad Ali after he wins a fight. So that one will be, I'm sure people will like that one as well. So yeah, maybe we'll put up next week.
Okay. So he wants to know, because we're getting a lot of questions regarding contest prep last 2 weeks. So I just wanted to put that out there, that Dave and Chris did this real candid behind the scenes, look into what a prep guru, will put their athletes through that last week, get them in that peak conditioning. So he wants to know in general, and I don't know if you've answered recently, how to get that dry look, but naturally.
Well, I mean, if you don't drink, you're going to dry out. If you're in shape and you have no body fat on your body and you restrict fluids, okay, your body's going to suck the fluid out of the subcutaneous compartment under the skin and pull it into the muscle as the muscle needs hydration. The trick is to time everything perfectly. I work with a lot of people. I offer a last week contest prep service for $100. People sign up for it all the time. They send me all their information there. They send me what they're doing, their pictures. I craft this last 7 days of contest prep, and every day they send me pictures and updates, sometimes more than once a day, and we basically peak them for their show. It's no different whether an athlete's on drugs and is using prescription diuretics, or if they're natural and they're using herbal diuretics, or if they don't want to use any diuretic and I'm just water restricting them and carving them up. So there is a science to it, but it's so meticulous and really dependent, individualistic, that I can't just give you a blanket template to follow. It's based on how the person looks, what they're eating, and how their body responds to fluids and sodium. So once again, I can't really give you a blanket statement here, but it is not, it's easy. Once you figure it out, and once you know how to manipulate the variables, aldosterone and sodium and water, it becomes easy to get people to dry out. But it takes experience. I have a lot of experience doing it. There's other coaches out there with a lot of experience, and for them, it's just a matter of, it's solving a puzzle, and you give us the pieces and we put it together.
Go to TJ the Jet. Dave, I know you said it's always better to run 2 compounds instead of 1 because they synergize. Is it worth to add a 3rd compound, or just good high doses of the first 2? Do you get much benefit from adding a 3rd, or are you better off keeping that 3rd for the next cycle? Yeah,
when you're trying to grow, I think two compounds works perfectly. A nice, effective high dosage, not excessive, but high dosage that's effective, and testosterone with another anabolic, with growth hormone, of course, and you're going to get some nice growth from that. The use of less compounds also means that you'll be hungrier. The more toxicity you put into your body, the less you want to eat. Now, pre-contest, different strategy. We're not trying to grow now. We're trying to harden up the body. We're trying to maintain muscle, okay? And I don't care if we're going to kill appetite a little bit. That might even be a benefit. But I usually use 3 compounds, pre-contest, just because I'm not worried at this point. I'm trying to maximize the way the body looks. If you use too many compounds off season, what do you switch to? Because I like to switch up the compounds every 6 to 8 weeks. If you're using 3-4 compounds at a time, there's nothing left to switch to, So that's why I try to limit it, to DECA for, 6 to 8 weeks. And I'll use Trenbolone 6 to 8 weeks. I'll use Equipoise 6 to 8 weeks, and I switch it around like that so that, once again, and then I can go back to the original compound so that I'm not getting, crossover. Pre-contest, different, once again, different strategy.
Let's go to myrick.joe, best or a recommended beta blocker for high BP while on cycle.
I don't like beta blockers for controlled blood pressure because they just really slow the heart down. They don't really do anything in terms of opening up blood vessels to allow more blood flow, keeping the kidney tubules open. ACE inhibitors that inhibit the angiotensin system in the body seem to be the most potent blood pressure reducers with the least side effects. And that's why I think they work well for bodybuilders. They're also very kidney protective, meaning they keep the kidney tubules open even more so they can filter better. So that's usually what I recommend for people to use. Now the angiotensin receptor blockers, in other words, you could inhibit angiotensin from being produced and you get a blood pressure lowering effect, or you can block the receptors for it. It's almost like a Arimidex versus Nolvadex, how it works. Same outcome, different way to get there. So a lot of times these doctors now are prescribing the angiotensin receptor blockers. Personally, I think the ACE inhibitors are better than the receptor blockers, although people have mixed reviews. Now, some people say, why don't you mix them together? Well, the research shows that mixing them together doesn't seem to have an additive effect, or you don't really get a benefit. And that makes sense because if you're blocking the receptor or you're inhibiting the angiotensin tube from being produced to begin with, the outcome is the same. So if you do two things, it would be like taking Arimidex and Nolvadex at the same time. You can't block any more estrogen at that point. So I think that the way to go would be the ACE inhibitors. I think beta blockers are good if you have arrhythmias, meaning your heart is beating too fast or it gets out of beat, it races and then it slows down. That will kind of regulate heartbeat, but it's not really good at controlling blood pressure.
Let's go to Matt Tracy Live. Now that you got to see the new men's classic physique shorts, what is your take? Better? Worse? Should they be shorter? Do you think the change made a difference in the scoring since it shows more?
I like them because I right from the beginning thought that the classic guys should be in, at least I thought they should be in posing trunks, but I had advocated for a much leaner cut of suit that had a shininess to it, so they looked like spectacular on stage as opposed to like something you got out of your garage and threw on and you went on stage. The old classic shorts, the original ones, were kind of dull looking. They didn't have shine to them. They were too long. They covered the upper part of your quad. You really couldn't see that nice triangle that comes in at the top. And I was against it. Chris Aceto didn't want to go to the narrower cut because he felt that it was going to turn into a glute contest, which it will, and which it probably has now. But if these guys are ripped anyway, usually your glutes are in shape when you're shredded enough to be in contest shape anyway. I think it's a good move. I think that I wouldn't even have a problem if they went shorter than that, but I don't think they need to at this point because now you can pretty much see everything. And it does differentiate the classic guy from the open guy. So if you see a classic guy and say, he's classic because he's not in posing trunks. So that might be a good thing so that you can differentiate. However, it's bodybuilding. You can call it classic physique all you want. It's bodybuilding with a weight class is what it is.
Let's go to Never Too Late. Why does it seem that the bodybuilders today use more weight as a much shorter range of motion than the pros from the past, the 80s, the 90s, especially leg exercises such as leg press or hack squats, for example? Is it better with higher weight and less range of motion?
Now, low range of motion, shorter range of motion means shorter muscle development. So you're not going to develop your muscles fully with short range of motion. Why do people do it? Ego. They got to perform for Instagram. They got to take their videos, and they don't want to train hard, but they also want to look like they train hard. So they'll just use a ton of weight, and they'll just take short. They'll just do partials. They'll do 3/4 reps, and of course they're not growing from that. But it looks good on video because you can't tell if you get the right angle. It looks kind of impressive, right? Hey, look how he's squatting 600 pounds. Meanwhile, he's only going down halfway. So it goes back to the, everyone's performing for the camera nowadays. Everyone wants their own reality show. And unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Back in the day, if you didn't do a full range of motion and you were training with real hardcore people in that gym, they would ream your ass out. I mean, you would be made fun of, you would be mocked, and they'd make you do it again. So no one did that. I mean, I was always a stickler for full range of motion on everything I did. I probably did too much range of motion because I was so flexible. But that's what got me great muscle development, full development, because I did full range of motion. The guys that are doing this, you don't see any difference in their body.
The Ryan Bickford, ways to boost hunger while bulking.
Repeat that?
Ways to boost hunger while on bulk.
You know, everyone's got their own little shticky ways we used to do B12 shots back in the day, which I don't really think worked. I think it was psychological, to be honest with you. The GHRP6s seem to really increase appetite. I've seen that pretty well. Some guys try, the old one from the 80s was Periactin, which is like an antihistamine. The problem is the first week or 10 days you take it, you want to sleep all day. So that's not very, a good option. Boston Lloyd's said he got some good results with Megastrol, which is like a progesterone, derivative that seems to make people hungry. There's also obviously the marijuana-based ones. I forget what that's called. Marinol, I think it's called. Also, they give that to chemotherapy patients, cancer patients, to increase their appetite. There's a million different ways. I used to just force feed myself. I didn't use any of those ways. I just made sure the food went down because it was that important to me. I'm like, am I going to let a little bit of food in a plate that I don't feel like eating prevent me from getting as big as possible? No effing way. And I would get that food down no matter what. If I sit there, I just had to swallow it. I didn't care. If I had to blend it, I would blend it. If I had to drink it, I would drink it. And that just goes to show you how you have to ask yourself the question, how bad do I want to be my best? If it's real bad, you'll find a way to eat that food.
Let's go to Ash Smith. If I have slight lower back pain from doing high rep deadlifts, had it for 2 weeks now, am I okay to train light or wait till it's fully recovered?
You're talking to the wrong person. I would never miss a workout unless I was crippled, So if I'm a little sore, okay, or a little stiff, I'm going in there and I'm going to stretch, I'm going to loosen myself up, and I'm going to do that workout. And usually after you do a workout, you don't have to go crazy heavy. After you do a workout like that, when you're sore, you kind of loosen up a lot, and sometimes it feels even better. So you think, oh, shoot, I'm feeling terrible, I shouldn't work out. Meanwhile, the workout actually will make you recover faster from that workout. Because a lot of times it's just residual healing that's going on from that original workout you did a week earlier. Now, if you're doing workouts too close together, you're doing legs and then 3 days later you're trying to do it again, that's just stupid. But if you've given yourself 7 days and you're still a little sore, I think it's fine to do it.
Jay Ramirez, thoughts on dihydroboldenone, trenbolone and test cycle? I've been reading and it seems like dihydroboldenone is becoming very popular.
Once again, if it was that good of a drug, it would have been made by the drug companies. I see that. I remember when Dr. Tony Huge was selling Trestolone, and it sounded enough like Trenbolone that people said, "Ooh, this is a better Trenbolone," which it wasn't, and it really converted to estrogen at a really high value. But they were selling it legally because it was there was a loophole because it wasn't really an anabolic steroid that was classified yet. It was kind of an unclassified drug. So theoretically, even though it's still a steroid, they were selling it in gray market all over the place. Everyone was buying it because it was easy to access it, but it wasn't a good drug. I have never used dihydroboldenone, so I don't know, how it feels or what the side effects are. But I have a feeling it's overhyped. I've been reading about it. It sounds better on paper, as a lot of things do. But why didn't they ever make it? These drug companies are smart. They make the most potent stuff. So to me, there's probably some negatives that people aren't discussing or that they don't even know about. It does happen to be a more toxic drug than Trenbolone, and Trenbolone is pretty toxic to begin with. So I would tread lightly on that one. Everyone's always trying to find the next greatest thing. There's not much better than Trenbolone acetate, let me tell you.
Sheikh Muratib, your thoughts on taking glucose in pre-workouts as it acts fast?
As a what?
As it acts fast.
How fast? Did you eat a meal an hour before you trained? Did you take a pre-workout shake? How much more nutrition do you need in your system? How much more glucose do you need in your bloodstream? Why are you low? That's the question I get. Are you taking insulin? I don't know why people need all this energy, this extra fuel while they're working out. Didn't you guys fuel up for the last, eating every 2 hours, around the clock? I don't know why people just need more and more and more when they go to the gym. Let me tell you what happens when you go to the gym. The blood flow to your internal digestive organs turns off, or at least it turns way, way down. It's very hard to absorb nutrition, when you're weight training, because your body doesn't want the blood in your stomach, intestinal tract, kidneys, liver. It wants the blood in the muscles so that it can deliver oxygen to the muscles and nutrition, You could eat and drink all you want intra-workout right before you go to the gym. a lot of that nutrition is going to lay in your stomach, okay? It's not going anywhere. And then as soon as you finish your workout, all of a sudden your body's going to absorb it all. So I'm not into this whole intra-workout thing. It's like, look, you know what? I own a nutrition company. I like to sell product, okay? I like to make money just like the next guy does. But the reason I don't have an intra-workout shakeout is because I just don't think it's relevant to bodybuilding as much as, say, a good whey isolate would be, or a high molecular weight carbohydrate drink for post-workout. And there's so many other things that people need to buy that an intra-workout would be more geared towards if I was selling to the endurance crowd, like the marathon runners, triathletes, the guys who just like to cycle for long periods of time and want to sip on something. That to me, I would get a cyclic dextrin and with some aminos in there, and that's a great type of a product to sell to those endurance athletes. But for bodybuilders, I just don't think it's necessary. And once again, I see people and I talk to people on a regular basis, and people only have so much money to spend. And usually what they do is they'll say, Dave, you gave me this great list of products. I just can't afford to take all of them. Which are the most important? So if they're asking me that, there's no way they're going to have extra money to go buy a glucose product or an intra-workout product. And if they are spending it on that, they're fools, because if they're not taking the stuff that they should be taking first, then they're doing their body a disservice and their results a disservice, okay? You shouldn't pick taste and what you think is the in vogue thing to do over what your body really needs. Be smart. Don't be a sheep and follow the herd, okay? Go out there and learn what you need to do from places like my app or this show, and understand what the science is of what's going on, and be your own man, be your own woman, and pick the right nutrition so that you can accomplish the goals that you want.
I know we're crossing the 30-minute threshold, but I did want to get 2 or 3 more questions in. Doreen Popovici, the best way to get rid of prolactin naturally?
They say that there's some of the B vitamins can bind up prolactin and get it out of there. I haven't really seen that happen. If it did work, I would put it into Testalize, but it doesn't. The only reason prolactin should be elevated, it would be because you're taking some kind of a drug that elevates prolactin, like DECA, one of the 19 nortestosterone drugs. Sometimes trenbolone can elevate it a little bit, and that's a dose-related thing. I never had high prolactin when I took 50 milligrams of trenbolone acetate 3 times a week. But guys take 1,000 milligrams of trenbolone acetate a week now, and they have prolactin through the roof. DECA tends to elevate prolactin more than trenbolone does, but even when I used to take 400 or 500 milligrams of DECA a week, I never had high prolactin levels. So, and once again, it is a person-specific type of thing. If you're using drugs that raise prolactin, you probably should have on hand some cabergoline or Dostinex, same drug, so that you can take 0.5 milligram 2 to 3 times a week to keep that under control. If you happen to be a prolactin converter, if it doesn't work for you, sometimes these prolactin inhibitors don't even work. If they don't work, then don't take the drugs that elevate prolactin if you're getting prolactin-induced side effects. If you're not getting side effects and you have high prolactin, then don't worry about it. People ask me that all the time. They're like, you know what? I didn't even know I had high prolactin. I went for blood work. It came back high. What should I do for it? I said, well, do you have side effects? Are you having problems with erections? Are you having problems with nipple discharge? No. Then don't do anything. Who cares? It's not affecting you negatively.
Victor E. Fitness. Dave, is there a such thing as too much stevia during contest prep?
There's a such thing as too much of anything. Too much of anything is no good for you. You've heard that expression before. So the question is, how much is too much? Well, every person is individualistic. I know that if I use too much stevia, after a while, I get nauseous from it, okay? Because my body knows it's really not, stevia is probably the least natural, I should say, the least accurate, sugar substitute that's out there. Sucralose and aspartame taste a lot like sugar. Stevia, the more you eat of it, the more bitter it starts to get. Even the good stevias start getting a little bitter. But I have never seen anyone overdo stevia, but I'm sure there's plenty of people that pour it over everything, And if you start getting nauseous from it, or you don't feel good, and you're doing too much, then cut it back. There's no such thing as too much stevia that's going to sabotage your diet. It just may make you feel bad, that's all.
Question about Fiberlize from Jora V Bodybuilding. I'm starting Fiberlize 6 weeks out of my show. How long should I run it? 1 week out or up to the show?
You should take it every single day for the rest of your life. I mean, that if you want to be healthy and you want to have it work properly, you got to train your colon, which is a muscle, and fiber trains your colon just like you train the rest of your body. Do you not train your body after a show for 6 months? No, you keep training. So fiber shouldn't just be used the last 6 weeks. It should be used continuously. Off season, pre-contest, never stop it. Matter of fact, I have people use 3 servings of Fiber Lyze the night before a show because that's the day they're carbing up and cutting their water. It makes sure enables them to go to the bathroom because a lot of people get constipated that last day because of the fluid restriction and the higher carbohydrate intake. So once again, you should never stop a fiber supplement. You're not just taking it, for contest prep. You're taking it so that you can be healthy too and process your foods properly. And I think that's a big mistake people make. And train your colon. Remember, don't forget, the colon is an involuntary muscle. You can't go to the gym and train it. Only fiber trains your colon. It makes that colon work and contract. When it works and contracts, it builds up muscularity. When the colon is muscular, it moves food efficiently through your tract, and you don't get constipated, and you don't get all the maladies that come along with a weak colon, specifically colon cancer later in life.
Alexander Jeremov, not sure if you've answered in the past or recently. Your thoughts on Accutane?
If you have bad acne and it bothers you and it looks bad and you're sick of it, great drug. It works. I took it. It got rid of a lot of the... I still would get some small breakouts after that, but it got rid of those big, boily, hard, painful little things you get on your back and your chest. And once again, there's nothing worse than that. I had moderately annoying acne in high school. But once I started taking anabolics, in my early 20s, it made it worse. So it definitely helps, Accutane. The problem is, you could take it while you're in an off-season bulking type of scenario, but I wouldn't take it pre-contest. I've seen some women I work with who were on Accutane, and it was really hard to get them super lean on it. I don't know what it was doing or why. Maybe it was just making them hold water. I don't know what it was. Their body didn't look good. As soon as they came off of it, within 2 months, it was like their body changed. So you can use it off season. I wouldn't use it right before a show.
Let's finish off with 2 quick hitters. Justin Marvin, when is your next Secrets to Becoming a Diet Guru course?
When did my what?
Your Secrets to Becoming a Diet Guru course. When is the next one?
Oh, when is the next one? Probably the beginning of June. I think that's that's usually when I do it, in June sometime. And then I usually do it in September. And then obviously we'd usually do it in... sometimes I do a late fall one, but and then I always do one in February, March. So I'm looking at June. A lot of people have been asking me because they want to schedule flights, and within the next week or 2, I'll set a date.
Final question from Jay Risotto, who met us by the Arnold statue. I believe, if that's the wrong person, my apologies. Dave, how many T-shirts do you actually own?
Yeah, if you could get a camera over. It's a bit, Tyler can't get a camera over in the corner of the room over there. Maybe he can. You guys will be horrified by how many T-shirts. Ever since I started telling people, send me your T-shirt, I'll wear it. I probably have about 200 over there. And I have about another 50 to 100 in my house that people have sent me. And thank you for sending me, by the way. I do wear them all, at least once. The ones I really like. This one I really like. I love the Brooklyn because I'm from New York. The ones I really like, I wear more. But I will always give everyone's... Now, if you send me 5 T-shirts that are pretty much the same, just different colors, I might only wear one of them on the air. I'll wear the rest of them, I'll wear them, the other ones like around the house or when I go out. But I appreciate it, and I like to give people the ability to air their clothing lines on the show, of course. And I've even had clothing lines contact me about possibly sponsoring some of the TV shows, and that's a possibility if I like the clothing moving forward. So, once again, how many T-shirts? The number keeps going up every single day. I get a package in the mail. It's like I'm a kid on Christmas. So thank you for your T-shirts, and I'll keep wearing them.
And with that, that's going to do for this episode of Ask Dave, again brought to you by Species Nutrition and Liquid Sunrays. For Tyler Shore and Dave Palumbo, I'm Sadiq Faruqi. We'll see you next time.